With that down, let's get into main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Cool Kid 260, who writes, Dear John, it was announced that Paramount is doing a remake of the 90s classic film Face Off, with Godzilla vs. Kong director Adam Wingard directing. Do you think they should have a male and female face-off this time around, or a different type of face-off? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. Couple quick addendums before we get into any of that. Number 1, apparently it's not a remake. Apparently, Adam Wingard is saying it's a direct sequel, which is like, wait a minute, what? And we'll get to that in a second. As far as can it have a male and a female, no. That if you know and understand Face Off, that is simply not possible. If I could summarize my reaction when I heard that they were going to do another Face Off, the word would be hallelujah. I love Face Off. I love Face Off. In the immortal words of Nick Cage, if I asked you, no, wait, let me rephrase. If I let you suck my tongue, would you be grateful? I mean, I'm Castor Troy. I freaking love Face Off. I don't care what anybody else says. I love Face Off. I love this movie. And guess what? Having Adam Wingard attached to this, you guys saw me absolutely melt down over the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer that came out there. That is my favorite trailer in the last couple of years. Now, like maybe you have to go as far back as, I don't know, maybe the Logan trailer before there was another. I mean, I'm not saying Godzilla vs. Kong is going to be great, but the trailer was awesome and my blood got flowing. So hearing that Adam Wingard is going to be doing Face Off is amazing. Now, the one thing about this is I cannot help but wonder, Aaron, if executives over at the studio were watching the John Campea Show a while ago.
Probably. When
I proposed, listen, you want to print money? You want to print money? What is the hottest feud on Twitter right now and has been for the last couple of years? Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. You want to print money? Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Face Off. There you go. You're welcome. But no, now apparently at first when the news came out about this, they were saying it's a remake. But now apparently there are comments from Wingard coming out that's saying it's going to be a direct sequel. At any rate, this comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter who write, Godzilla vs. Kong director Adam Wingard has been tapped for the remake. Again, at the time they were still saying remake of Face Off. Wingard will direct the Paramount project from a script he will write with Simon Barrett, 22 Jump Street. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage starred in the 1997 action thriller from John Woo, which centers on two arch enemies exchanging each other's identities and faces. The story follows FBI agent Sean Archer, played by Travolta, who is tracking down terrorist Castor Troy, played by Nick Cage. When Troy Brands aboards a plane in Los Angeles that crashes and is severely injured, Archer undergoes surgery to remove his face and replace it with Troy's in order to go undercover as the criminal. It's one of the most ridiculous concepts ever in the history of film.
100%.
And it's delicious. I love that movie in a very kind of guilty pleasure sort of way. And you know what's funny? Normally, if we were to hear that they were going to be doing either a sequel, a late sequel, or a remake, I would rather hear late sequel. I gotta confess, my first reaction here is I'd rather see remake. I'd rather see like another go at it with two more iconic actors today, just because the concept is so wild. But it will be interesting to see which way they go on this. Aaron, you and I have never talked about the movie Face Off, I don't believe, but I don't know. What do you think about another Face Off movie coming? Adam Wingard directing this thing. What are your thoughts on this right now?
Well, I do like how Adam Wingard made sure to clarify on his Instagram that it's not a remake, it's a sequel, because I think that might have been a little bit of, whatever that game is where, you have the three cups and you hide the coin. Right. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a sequel. I think that it will probably be closer to a reboot, but everybody always bitches about a reboot. Everybody's like, oh, why are you remaking the movie? Blah, blah, blah. People are a little bit, even you, like in the way that you were talking, you were like, oh, okay, well, interesting. Even though you did say I'd rather see a complete remake, I think that there is something.
This is a rare occasion of one of those.
Right.
Very rare.
I think that there is a little bit of an immediate, people immediately get all, up in a kerfluffle whenever they hear remake. Why are you remaking it? It was already so good. And so sequel kind of relaxes people a little bit. I think that when the dust is settled, we are going to have what is more traditionally known as a remake or reboot, but we might see a cameo from, John Travolta. Wait, which one?
Both Travolta, Cage.
Well, right, no, but which one? One of them's dead at the end, or presumed
this
dead.
Is the movie.
Then again,
it's the movie.
Yes, it is Face Off, a movie so bad that it convinces millions of people that it's actually somehow good.
That's me.
There you go. And but you also have to remember that during this time, Nick Cage and John Travolta were zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I mean, John Travolta, this came out about 3 years. This came out in 97. So not long after his triumphant return to the silver screen in Pulp Fiction. He had just done Get Shorty. I mean, he was riding high in the next wave of his career. And similarly, Nick Cage had come off of his critical acclaim in Leaving Las Vegas, and he had done he had done some really big. Con Air had recently come out. So, he was really coming off of a big explosion in his career as well. And these are also two actors that if they were being introduced to maybe the Gen Xers at the time, our parents, or not our parents, but like maybe people about 10 years older than us had fallen in love with them, when they were younger in their career. So there was a wide audience who had sort of seen them grow up in front of the camera. And so when they were able to start doing some of their character little idiosyncrasies, when they were mimicking each other, the audience was really able to pick up on that and enjoy that. So that's going to be a big part of it, is casting. I have heard Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Also, I kind of love the idea, if we're going to go back to in a British way, especially if Guy Ritchie were directing, if we had Robert Pattison and Tom Hardy. A lot of people have been talking about them. And the reason why I'm really on board with that is, if you saw Peaky Blinders, then you know that Tom Hardy is a character actor, despite being one of the most beautiful human beings that has ever walked this earth, with the most kissable lips that have ever been on. I'm sorry, I'm married to Tom Degnan, and he's right on the other side of that door.
On the other side of the door.
Yes, I am. He knows that I have a big crush on Tom Hardy. So Tom Hardy, he's a character actor, and he loves creating these wild characters and being idiosyncratic. And if you were one of the millions of people who saw Twilight, then you know very well that Robert Pattison also has a wonderful ability to do the most unbelievable amount of absurdity and do it with the seriousness that Face Off requires.
Which we're going to see in Batman. I'm going to throw out another pair of names for a new Face Off. Okay, yeah. Ready for this? Another pair of names for a new Face Off. You guys ready for this? Again, Hollywood, you're welcome. Send me my residual check. Here it is. Kevin Hart and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You want to go comedy route?
Okay.
You want comedy route?
Like Kevin Hart,
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, money.
And then if you want to make it also cerebral, Denzel Washington, John Michael Washington. Father, son, Face Off.
See?
I mean, there's just so many possibilities.
Now we're getting meta all up in here. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Listen, whether it is a sequel or a remake, it doesn't matter. I think what the world needs right now is more Face Off. So guys, what do you think about this? And what do you think about Adam Wingard being the guy to do it? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.